Thank you for joining us on another episode of Money Mondays. I am your host and creator, Alexis Milord. I'm joined here by my co-host, Miss Renisha Gale.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
And today's discussion is one that I'm actually really excited about. It's your relationship with money. So actually, I walked into Barnes & Nobles the other day, and I was actually looking for a Bible to purchase, and I stumbled upon this book. I just looked at it, and I was like, okay, I have to get it immediately. I didn't know what it was about. I just looked at it. I was like, yep, that's for me. And it's the best $17.99 I think I've ever spent. This book is so in tune with this show, not only, but everything that I'm trying to accomplish. It's really talking about how we can overcome scarcity, experience true prosperity, and create the life we really want. Isn't that what we're all here striving for?
Pretty much.
And so when I purchased the book, I started reading, and the first few pages literally was talking about how she thought that she had to work, and she overworked herself. She missed time with her family. Her dad died, and her and her dad didn't have a good relationship. So she kind of was really sad at the point where, I never got a chance to see my dad and spend time with him, because what was I doing? I was just working, living the 9 to 5, not really living for myself. And so he was really poor. And nobody talked to him. They were shunned. She was shunned from the family. So that was the real nitty gritty of it for her. That made her think like, okay, so why am I working so hard? Is it because my dad had this life? And so through that, she was able to see we don't talk about money, which is exactly what I've been saying here on the show. We don't talk about money amongst ourselves, amongst our family, in schools. We don't teach it. And we have to come to realize that money, we have a relationship with it, just like we have a relationship with other people. But we also have a relationship with ourselves, first and foremost, right? And so what I realized with this book is that we all have a belief, right? Our beliefs are what we presume to be true. Where do we get our beliefs from? We get our beliefs from our experiences. And our experiences come from our family members, right? Mm-hmm. We're watching our family members, how they interact with the world, and we're taking what we see from them, and we're either processing as this is good, so I take this as that true, or this I don't align with, so I'm not going to take this as true, and I'm not going to believe that. But we take what's true and we give it a belief, and then it becomes subconscious, because beliefs are subconscious. We innately act them out like we would act them like our natural functions. We innately see, we innately hear, things of that nature. So what I'm trying to say basically is your relationship with money comes from your belief in yourself. And so I wrote some things down, and I think it would be better if I just share it this way. Yesterday, I had an epiphany of a sort. Without the belief in self, there can be no elevation, no success, no prosperity, no abundance. Notice I said the belief in self. Our relationship with money, good or bad, comes directly as a result of your beliefs, most of which were formed in our earliest years. As children, we look to our closest relatives and their lives in order to make sense of the world around us. This is where right from wrong is learned, our behaviors, and of course, our personality is developed. with the circumstances we are given, it's up to us to decipher what we take to be true or not. From that indication, we give it a belief. Once it becomes a belief, it is no longer conscious, which is what I was saying before. It's subconscious, like our innate function, seeing, hearing, touching, and the way our internal organs work. Therefore, it's imperative that we take a look at our habits, ask ourselves, what belief is this from, and examine who it comes from. Do we align with it? If we don't align with it, then we have to stop giving it that power. And that's the hardest part. In other words, so no matter how much you want or need something, if you have a goal in mind, and if in the back of your mind you're like, well, I want that, but then you're also thinking, how would I ever get that? You're kind of pushing that away, so you don't believe that you will ever get that. Therefore, it won't ever manifest itself into your reality. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
And it's kind of hard to paraphrase a book in like a 30-minute to an hour segment, but I think most people would do well from reading this book.
I think I'll keep my eyes out and read that book myself.
Yes. One of the things I love that she says is that she wasn't going on trips just because of the price that it might cost, right? So, but what if you learn that you're gonna die in 6 months because you have a terminal illness? Do you really care about that?
Yeah, but then if you don't have money to go on a trip, how are you gonna go? Where are you gonna get the money
Not saying
from?
that. Let's say you have the money to go on a trip.
But you decide not to use the money,
Right.
because your concern is it's too expensive.
Correct.
Okay.
Even if
And
the
it's
trip
true, because
is
they have
5,000
many shows.
and you have 10,000 in your bank account, kind of thing like that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And of course, I'm sure there's about 4 or 5 different movies that kind of went on that. And it's kind of teaching you to like live your life to the fullest, because you know, a lot of people, they was misdiagnosed with cancer or some terminal illness.
Yeah.
So then they spent all their money, went on trips, brought the car they always wanted to get, but they didn't do because, you know, they were just waiting to save up a certain amount of money.
So let me just read to you some of she says there are 7 scarcity patterns that we must overcome. You can have one or more of these. I do not feel safe or supported. I do not feel worthy of having money. I do not feel powerful. I do not feel appreciated for my contributions. I do not trust myself or others when it comes to my money. I do not feel like I am enough. And I do not feel whole, complete, and prosperous.
Okay. Again, like you said, it goes on your beliefs. It grows on your beliefs. I mean, everybody has different beliefs. And believe it or not, you know, it goes on what you're being taught by your parents. So a lot of times in certain households, as I realize, it's not that the parents don't want to teach you. They are unable to because they're too busy working. A lot of our households, and this is another reason why putting family first is a big thing. Now, we work with other groups that want to put family first. And it's important because yes, we need the money to pay our bills. We need the money to do nice things that we want to do, or to have a car. I don't believe in nice cars. I believe in having transportation to get where you want to go. But then again, that's everybody's mindset. Everybody's mindset is different. You know, one of the biggest issues we have as a family unit that I see, and hence why we've created Carrie's Guardian Angels, is that family don't have time, especially when you're making a certain income, to really sit down and have that conversation with their kids. And a lot of our families, especially in the minority community, they push their kids, go to school, go to college, But you never sit down and tell your kids, this is why I'm pushing for you to go to school and go to college. Okay? What they do is they just keep repeating that same thing to you, and you're just like, what's the big deal? Why do I have to go to school? What's wrong with you? Because you're seeing basketball players making money. You're seeing people singing and making money. So you are deriving in your own head, this is what I want to do, and you're just pushing me to do this one thing. Parents work 2-3 jobs, so it's like they're tired, they're groggy, they don't have the energy to really sit down with their kids. So that leaves the children to come up with their own ideas. Like a kid would sit there and be like, man, forget school, I just want to win the lotto, because they think the lotto is just something you put in some numbers and win. Some of them think, oh, if I become the greatest singer, I'll have the best contract and I'll be able to take care of my family. I think everybody in the community needs to come together. When you come together, that gives you the ability to be home more, because now you're holding each other's back. If you need a cup of sugar, I give you a cup of sugar. You need milk. I feel like we need to get that back and stop working so hard, to the point where we're not even watering our seeds, which is our children, period. Because you're so busy working to pay these bills and to give your child the best thing in life, when the reality is the best thing in life is your teaching and explaining to them, this is why I keep telling you your school is important. I'm not saying you can't be a singer. I'm not saying you can't play basketball and football. But if you're playing football and you get a really bad hit and you can't play anymore, what are you going to fall back on?
One of the points that she also made in the book was that some people can attribute their self-worth to the amount of money that they have. So in other words, when she says that we have to go back and see where those thoughts come from, that's where we have to just say, F it, like, I am who I am. If I were not to have a car or a house, would I still be able to survive? Yes. So does the amount of money I have in my pocket determine who I am as a person? No. So once I let that thought go, then the abundance, which abundance means having things readily available to you. Once you believe that you have everything readily available to you, things will just flow. So that's something. Do you think that's teachable?
I think it's teachable, yes. I think a lot of the issues why people run after money the way they do is because they're under the impression you're not worth anything if you don't have a big house, a fancy car, fancy shoes, and fancy purse. And you find yourself continually in a spin wheel over and over, just running for this. I don't know how to put it. You're running and spinning for something that technically is not even tangible at the end of the day. Because you could get that big house and forget your pot on the stove.
Mm-hmm.
And it burned down. Does that mean you're nobody because your house burnt down?
Right.
Look at how many fires are in Texas right now. Those nice big houses getting burnt down right now. So why do we base our lives on things?
Right.
That's what the question is. Why are we so bent up on basing our lives on granite counters, high ceilings, and drop lights?
No, I wouldn't say we have to have those things. I mean, it's nice to have those things.
Don't get me wrong. If you give me a mansion, I'm jumping in it. But I'm not going to kill myself to get in the mansion.
Right.
If it happens, it happens. But I don't think that's my sole goal. I think my sole goal is family. To be with family. To sit down and eat a dinner with your family, because trust me, when you're eating a dinner in the woods, it tastes just as good in a nice fancy place. I'm just being honest. A barbecue with family feels so good. To sit down, laugh, joke, hug, kiss, know each other, hold each other. But when you're looking for a certain lifestyle, especially if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, it's hard. It's hard to get to a nice house at $9 an hour.
But you can create that atmosphere yourself, is what I'm basically trying to say. If you detach the money from the value, because they say the people who have the money, the most money, they view money as a tool more so as anything else. So even if they have it or they don't have it, they're committed to making their whatever their end goal is. That's what's going to happen for them, period.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's what I'm saying. So if even if your goal is to have that mansion, what I'm trying to say is that can be your goal, but you don't have to have it in your mind that if you don't have it at this moment, or if you don't see it in your, it's never going to happen. And so you just work hard and work hard and work hard. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I get it. But then while you're working hard, what happens?
What do you mean?
What happens while you're working hard to get that gold?
You can work hard. You put in the work for it. But some people are like,
they're making it define them.
Right.
That is a point. That is a point. So, at the end of the day, you don't want to be defined by...
Client calling me right now.
You don't want to be defined by what you want, the object that you want. So, I understand. And what she's stating is right. We do need to consider what we want, how we want it, but don't let it define us on a daily basis. So if I'm 25 and I don't have that house that I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me use 30 because I see 25 is offending people. Let's say we're 30. What? You're not supposed to say that. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody knew you was 25. Just snitched on yourself. But anyway, let's say if you're 30, right? And you feel at the age of 30, I know that's going to speak to somebody else who's probably watching this show. But if you're 30 and you say that your goal at 30 was to already establish a home, right? To already have a certain car and to have a husband, but you don't have it at 30, what would you consider that?
Wait, say that again?
Okay, so you give yourself an end goal at 30. By the age of 30, you're supposed to have your nice house, your car, your husband, and your kids.
Mm-hmm.
But that hasn't happened.
Okay. What would I consider that?
Mm-hmm.
What have I accomplished already at this point?
At this point, I would
30.
say you may have a good position,
Okay.
good position in corporate.
Okay.
You're making decent money, but you haven't accomplished what you feel your end goal is. Basically what I'm asking you is, what would you say to that person?
Well, if that person is actively working towards their goals,
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't reached it yet, I would say keep going and don't stop. And I would say keep the faith. It only takes a faith the size of a mustard seed for things to really work out for you. Keep going.
Never giving up.
Never give up.
And I like to tell people, don't watch. I know we all think that we should be at a certain point at a certain time. And I fell in that trap myself. And I realized the moment you stop pushing for, oh, this has to be at this time, at this minute, at this hour, I noticed things started flowing better. Like, I have this weird strength out of nowhere as soon as I stop holding on. Hello.
Hi, Bernadette. Thank you for joining us.
I realized that I've spent less time worrying and stressing. I noticed that overflow is starting to happen. That increase is starting to happen. Versus when I was working 2 to 3 jobs, not getting any sleep. So the money, it seemed like the more money you make, the more problems you got. If that make any sense. No, seriously. Okay, prime example.
I would attribute that to stress. The more stress you put behind it, the less you see. The less stress you put behind it, the more you see. Because think about it. If you're stressing, and this thing could be right in front of you. But if you're stressing, you won't see it in front of you. But once you relax, and you're like, well, all right, I need some water. And you're like, oh, there's some water right here. I would attribute that to stress.
Well, I'm going to give you my example.
Okay.
What happened, I was working one job. I was blessed with another job. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that I was a workhorse. Because that's what my mom did. That's what my dad did. They always had 2 to 3 jobs. We lived a good life, but mom and dad always had 2 to 3 jobs, right? So I went to college for something, never completed it. But I kept trying to, I worked my 2 to 3 jobs, right? So, and I tried to keep my output lower than what I'm coming in. So, for instance, just to give a figure, I've never been here. Don't say I make $4,000 a month, right? I try to make sure my bills don't go past $2,000 a month. Because my mind, I'm trying to save $2,000 a month in order to purchase a home, right? Mm-hmm. But what I noticed, the more you work the extra jobs or you do the extra job here and there, something would always happen. Like a medical bill out of nowhere will come and eat that $2,000. Somebody will hit your car.
Distractions.
And then nothing but distractions to keep you away from your goal. Mm-hmm. But then the moment that you sit back in your life, because I could never understand people who used to have that attitude like, whatever happens. Mm-hmm. I couldn't understand it for the life of me. I was like,
I try every day to be like that, but it's hard.
I could not understand it for the life of me. I'm being 100% honest with you. Like there was people in my life that they always seem to have the nicest car than me. They always seem to just like, everything just flowed for them. And here I am. If I lose one job, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get another job because how am I gonna maintain this bill? I gotta do this to maintain that bill. I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And I'm like overworking myself, running all over the place. And it was like I was spinning my top in mud. Like I could never get anywhere. Literally never get anywhere. And then the moment I would say I become one with myself, the moment that I started looking at things differently, the moment I started looking at things differently, and I started meditating, I started saying, basically, for lack of a better word, I started doing Hakuna Matata. I'm being serious.
No worries.
Off of Lion King, Hakuna Matata. Listen, I don't have my rent right. Hakuna Matata. Before, I would literally be having palpitations in my bed. Where is this money coming from? And now I'm just like, Hakuna Matata. That's where it's coming from.
And then
I'm going to relax.
Another point that she also made, I just remembered, so I want to say before I forget, is that sometimes we don't even know how to deal with the money ourselves, what ideas that we want. So we living for other people. We living through other people. So if society say a Mercedes is what's that, then a Mercedes is what I gotta get.
And that's another thing. We need to stop following society. Technically, let me tell you something. The moment you stop looking at things, I'm not saying you can't have nice things. So I don't want anybody listening right now to misunderstand what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it's not good to have a nice house. It is. It's not good to have a nice car. It is a good feeling. I've sat behind a Benz truck. It feels good. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, that car drive, whew, it feel good. It's like sitting on cushion. But guess what? I'm not going to kill myself to get it. Sometimes in life when you realize that putt-putt that's getting you from point A to point B, it's okay. And as soon as you stop stressing about having a Benz, that Benz is going to come. That's what I'm trying to say. As soon as you stop waking up, man, why I can't get this house? The house is going to come.
You know, and that's so funny because I was thinking that the other day. I've been wanting to move for some time now. And I was like, I don't care about upgrading my car. I'm good with my car. I had a little small car. It took $20 to fill up. I was like excited. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to ride this car to the end because my dad has a Corolla. He has a Toyota, not a Corolla, Camry. It's a 1998. And that thing is still kicking. I'm like, I'm going to be like him. Right? But I'm like, I want to move so bad. And I've tried, and it just never seems to be the right time for me. And so my car breaks down. And I'm trying to fix it. And no matter what they can do, nothing is working for this car. It's this problem, it's that problem. They can't even figure out what is wrong with the car. It just doesn't work. And so the next weekend, I got a brand new car. I wasn't thinking about this car. I got a rental, first of all, when my car broke down. And I was like, oh, this is a nice car. Like, I would upgrade to this. And the very next weekend, it just happened and manifested itself. I didn't stress about it. I wasn't like, oh, my God, about payments or this is the middle of coronavirus. What am I going to do? It just happened. And not only did I get something, my mom ended up benefiting from it, too. So it was just crazy how that all happened to me. Now, had I had the same kind of like nonchalant attitude about moving, maybe I would have moved already. We have a comment.
I'm starting to realize the more you stress over something, the less it happens. I promise you, it's like turning your top in mud, like I say all the time. It's like going on a little spin wheel, round and round and round. And when the least expected is when things happen. That's what I noticed.
You have a comment from Bernadette. It may feel good to have that car, but keeping it maintained is a headache if you don't have the correct funds. Absolutely, I agree with you.
100%. Because those Benz and them Beamers, ooh, child. They don't even have a stick for you to check the oil like a regular car. You got to go to the dealer just for them to check the oil and put fluids in there for you. That's crazy.
I don't know what it's like to have a Benz or a Beamer at this current moment. That's just not my desire. My desire right now...
I only know because my husband's a mechanic, by the way.
My desire right now is literally to just help people. And so it kind of pissed me off when I was saying to someone, oh, yeah, this is a nice car. Like, I would upgrade to this. And they were like, for that, why don't you just upgrade to a Lexus? You could afford a Lexus. And I was like, I don't really want a Lexus. Like, I could get a Lexus if that's what I wanted, but I don't want that. I'm thinking to myself, I drive a lot. You know, I have children in my car. I don't want that right now. It's not for me right now. I'm good with my Toyota, $40, $30 to fill up, free service. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm telling you, them
that's all I can
luxury
ask
cars.
for.
You have to have luxury money for them luxury cars, but I mean, but you never know. Life will take you there. I'm not saying living a Kuda Matata life means you got to drive a hoopty. No, it's meaning is knowing to live within your means. So when your business gets to that point where it's like a Kuda Matata to pay that Lexus or that Mercedes bill and pay for that maintenance, then by all means get it. You worked hard for it.
I would attribute it all to like what they say, the 5 stages of grief. You have death, then you have sadness, anger, depression, then you let it go and then you feel better again. It's like a rebirth. Yeah, I think that's kind of what you have to go through when it comes to
money.
The aspect of money.
Yeah.
And it's like I always have my thoughts, and then when it comes time to display that, I'm like, what? I can't remember. Yes. So yeah, we kind of have to go through a rebirth with money. Oh yes, not only living within your means, but accepting where you are now and believing within yourself that you will get somewhere different in the future, and actually working towards it day by day, not killing yourself to get there. Because another thing that I would say to the person that you mentioned earlier is nothing happens before its time. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. Remember that we are co-creators with our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So mindset is important. And we always preach that on this show, mindset.
And you know what's funny is I thought I learned this lesson of it's like a self-care thing. I thought I learned that 2019, but 2020 I'm really seeing just how deep self-care is. And self-care doesn't mean getting my hair done, getting my nails done. Self-care means pouring into myself, educating myself, making sure my mental health is great, making sure I'm around a good team of people, making sure I'm doing what it takes to make me great so that I can spill onto others.
You got to work on you before you can work on anybody else.
Absolutely. I say this. I feel like I say this every day, every episode.
You definitely have to work on yourself. Don't be ashamed to work on yourself. Go back to the book and the pen and work it out, write it out. Keep that vision. Do yourself a vision board. Create what you really want, and you're going to get what you want. You just got to believe that you're going to get what you want. You got to believe when you take out that check, when you get that paycheck, and it's not what you want to see, it doesn't have enough zeros behind it, just know that that's not the end. You control your destiny. Mm-hmm. You control what you're going to walk up into that bank and deposit. You control that. Don't think that today's situation is tomorrow's forever.
Absolutely.
And once you realize that and you just keep going and trying your best and working, and that also means it's not only about mindset, it's about making good choices too. Mm-hmm. So you can't sit there and sing you want a house and a better car, but yet still you at the strip club every night. Or you're at the bar. Well, you know I'm all out there. Don't be acting surprised. But you at the bar. You buying a new outfit every week and going clubbing with $200 shoes and then upset. It doesn't work like that. You can't manifest money and continue to do silliness. You have to know, okay, this is not important, so I need to save that. This is all my light, my water, my cable, my internet is paid. All my necessities are paid. I have this left over. Let me put this to the side and save that.
Well, you have to have your mind in place in order to be able to make those decisions.
Listen, I've seen people sit there and do like this and be the first one buying the $300 outfit to go to the club, okay? I'm just saying, you can't manifest and make it happen if you're going to do things that are not, very, money conscious. Because you have people like that. They'll sit up there and they'll kumbaya all day and wonder why nothing's working out. So you got to be careful with that too.
Absolutely. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, I think that's going to conclude our show for today.
Click, like, share, subscribe. I learned that from my daughter. She's 10 years old. Click, like, share, subscribe. Share with all your friends.
If you've missed any of our previous episodes, go ahead and watch those. And make sure you leave a comment of what you take from each episode, all right? Alrighty, guys. It's a pleasure as always.
See you next Monday, and we'll be more live and lit.
See you next Monday. We lit every Monday.